Listen, man, I'm a 90s baby, and the way I was brought up, no matter who my mother was and no matter what the situation was, no, most kids knew coming up in the 90s that one of the number one things you do not do is embarrass your parent in public. That's one of the number one things you don't do. And in a time where it was okay to beat your kid's ass with belts, when it was okay to throw a shoe upside your kid head, when it was okay to, you know what I'm saying, get a tree branch, soak it in the water, go get that. In a time where it was okay to catch your kids in the bathtub and run up in there with that belt and go to work. You know what I'm saying? And a time where it wasn't surprising to where if a kid was acting up in public and then the parent just slapped the shit out that child in public because they was acting up in public, the next thing you would hear the parent say is, I told you about embarrassing me in public, right? Now wait till I get your ass home. This is what we missing. This is why we having this issue right here. That child, that child looks to not be no older than 3 or 4 years old, if that. That is definitely a child who did not grow up being told no. No means no. No means no. No means no. No means no. Okay? And that's the problem. People are not raising their kids understanding that you're going to be told no. You're going to be faced with rejection. And it has to be okay. Because if it's not okay, and you embarrass me because it's not okay, I'm going to beat your ass. And when I say beat your ass, this is a term that I have used to explain to my own kids the detriment of disobeying me and defying my orders. When like the term beat your ass is really said in a loving way. It's just another word for corrective measurements, another word for the proper disciplinary actions. We cannot live in a world where our kids do not fear the repercussions of embarrassing us in public, disrespecting us in public, not doing what we tell them to do. And in this case, all that plus kids just not having the social skills to know how to act in public. The way that little girl was just acting, I've never been embarrassed like that by none of my children. Never been embarrassed by my boys like that. Mind you, I'm gonna tell y'all a story, right? The first couple years of my younger son's life, his name is King, I wasn't there because I didn't believe he was mine. I ended up, assuming the fatherly role when he was about 4 or 5 years old. And then I've been a father ever since, even though his mom is currently an asshole. But I remember he was a vicious crybaby like that in the beginning. Very, very vicious, outlandish crybaby. And the thing about me is that y'all want to run over y'all parents. Y'all want to do all the extra talking back, all the extra crying and temper tantrums, which my younger son was doing with his mom because he wasn't with me from birth like my older son was. He used to be vicious just like that. And I'm talking about if you try to ignore him while he's crying because he wants what he wants, he's going to keep going. And the cries are going to get more annoying, more loud, more blatant. You know the kind of cry it is, yeah, when the kid is at a certain tone and then they realize that you're not going for it and you ignoring them or you taking too long and then they raise that octave and that cry gets a little bit more disrespectful. My younger son was like that. And you know what I did? He had been 3, 4 years old. This is when get some more backstory. Even though I didn't necessarily believe my son was mine, something about me and my soul told me to get next to him to fill it out. right? And get to know his mother as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? So one time he was like 3 years old, 4 years old. I went to his mother's house. He was crying very, very like unnecessarily loud and annoying and throwing a temper tantrum, just like this little girl right here. And this was the first time I had to discipline him. What I did was I took him in the bathroom. He would not stop screaming, right? I held him. I struck him across his bottom 3, 4 times. The cry went from I'm crying just because to I'm crying for a real reason because I just got a spanking. He cried. I yelled at him. He peed on himself while I yelled at him. I told his mother to clean it up. She cleaned it up. She put him in the bed. He went to sleep. I think subconsciously he remembered that. He ain't never, even though he still kind of like cries because like he be acting like a little bitch because he spent too much time with his mom, right? But the temper tantrums he's never done again. My older son never, ever, ever acted out like that. Not with me. Not nobody on my side of the family. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an energy that a father provides that if he's a real dad, he got that real masculine alpha father energy. Children are only going to go so far, you know. Yes, kids, it don't matter who's the father. Kids are going to try certain things. They're going to act up here and there. But the extra shit that this little girl was doing, totally out of line. It's just like, what is this? What is this? You feel me? And also, you will notice that there's no father. No father around. Every time I see these type of situations happen, even if I can remember the times when I was a kid myself and I seen other kids maliciously throwing a temper tantrum like this, whether it's in videos like this that I'm doing reactions to, or if it's what I've seen personally, I've never seen a child act out like this in the presence of a father or grandfather or uncle. I don't know. I know for a fact that that little girl in that video is not used to being told no. She's used to being told no, facing a little bit of adversity, crying hysterically, and then getting what she wants. Right? That's because I think there's just something inbred in the mother of a child and the grandmother of a child to, when the kid is upset, their first thing to do is give the child what they want. And it backfires on that ass when the children get older. Because the children become little assholes, like the little girl in the video. She's a little asshole. She's a little dickhead. She's a little dingling. You know what I'm saying? And that's because the father's not around. In the house, when that starts to happen, the father will be like, yo, cut it out. Do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That tone of a father saying that and the tone of a mother saying that, come on, let's be real, man. The kid is not worried about that. All that extra rolling on the floor and all that extra stuff, all that gimme, it's mine, and all that disrespectful shit. Your child doesn't understand that there's a hierarchy. Children have to learn at the proper age that the world does not revolve around you. Yes, we love you. Yes, we're going to do things for you, but it ain't always going to be like this. That child in that video does not know that. If the father was there, right, the store would not have had to witness a minute and better of that child acting up like that, okay? If the father was there with one arm, he'd have lifted up the child, put the child over his shoulder, and walked out of the store. Because he does not want to be embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? These type of situations happen when there's not enough masculine energy around the child, when there's not enough disciplinary actions. And disciplinary actions are not always giving your child a spanking or getting a belt. You know what I'm saying? You could start practicing real young with like a girl that size, a little girl that age. You could take her, right? Put her in the corner, make her face the corner, put her forehead on the corner, and have her ass stand there. Stand there. It's different things you can do. Like it's and like you could start small. Like, okay, you was acting up in the store today. No dinner for you. I mean, not no dinner. We gotta give the kids dinner, but no dessert. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like you gotta work off of a reward system. You gotta raise kids off of a reward system. When they do what they supposed to do, they get a reward. This little girl in this video, she was acting up. I bet you I know what they did. They took that little girl. They took that little girl to the store to get her some candy or something to shut her up. They took her to McDonald's or something to get her to shut her up. To get her to shut up. You are rewarding bad behavior. I'm sad. It's sad to say it, but this is the truth. You got to raise children the way you raise dogs, on a reward system. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna end this video here. Shout out to the brother Shane. This is another donation request. Like, share, comment, subscribe.